think that sometimes you got to be the change you want to see. And I can't even name right now a Black, queer, masculine-ish woman, anybody, a gay Black female journalist who's on TV right now. I can't name one. I can tell you some guys, but I can't tell you about the women, because I think even when it comes to that, there's still a Eurocentric expectation, or, even if you are natural on TV, you still got to be able to press your hair. And so for me, I've leaned more into entertainment.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley, and I'm so happy you came by. The Queerly Blax Show aims to normalize the everyday existence of Black, LGBTQIA+ individuals through an interview-style series with regular folks like you and me. So every week, a new guest shares their story and unique perspective on their existence as an LGBTQIA+ individual. Thank you for tuning in, and make sure you subscribe, download, set your reminders to the podcast so you never miss an episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to another episode of the Queerly Blax Show. I'm your host, Ashley. I'm joined today by a very special guest. We got Georgia Dawkins in the building. Georgia, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Hey guys, my name is Georgia Dawkins, and I am the Purpose Producer. I am in position to help other people reach their destiny, and I'm so excited to be here on this show. Thank you so much for having me, Ashley.
Absolutely. Excited to have you. Excited for our conversation. I think that we're going to help some people today. But before we get there, we got to start at the beginning. Got to go all the way back to the beginning. When did you know you liked the ladies?
Child, when I was playing hide and go get it with everybody.
Hey, what was you going to get? That's the question.
It wasn't even just about the ladies, but like I knew at a very early age, and I'm talking like elementary school, first and second grade, the hide and seek, the playing house. I knew that I had interest in both. And, for me, I feel like sexuality is a spectrum. And so now at this point in my life, I definitely lean more towards lesbian. I always kind of feared labels for a long time, and I tried to stay away from them. But I knew in elementary school, I had girlfriends in elementary school. I also had boyfriends in elementary school. And
player.
I've been that girl,
Okay.
pulling them at the playground. Okay.
Yes, sir.
There are no limits. But definitely around middle school is where that curiosity started to evolve a little bit. And when I, came out to my parents, my mama tried to act like she was in denial. And I was like, so you gonna act like the school didn't call you about that letter I wrote to the teacher?
Oh, the teacher. Whoa.
I wrote a teacher a 4-page letter and told her to leave her husband.
Wait.
I told this lady I was going to take care of her and her kids. Okay. Not only is that gay, but it's delusional.
About first grade, second grade?
No, I was in 7th grade.
McDonald's
wasn't even my teacher.
McDonald's teaching was, you could have got a job at McDonald's in like 2 years. You know what I'm saying?
I wasn't
covered a light bill or something.
I wasn't prepared. Yeah. So it's been a long time coming for me.
Yeah, man. Wow. You wrote the letter, told her to leave her husband.
4 pages.
4 pages. Convincing the lady to leave her husband.
Girl, I got you.
You got, man. How did that work out?
They called me right to the principal's office, right? Okay, and they told my mama, so she gonna act like she didn't get that phone call, lady. Come out of denial.
They're like, this is like reverse harassment. Is it harassment if it's a kid? Like, it's just like bullying the teachers. Like, what are we doing right now? That's what's up. It
was not bullying. It was an invitation.
It was an invitation. It was an invitation. Like, come on, slide over here. I got you. You know what I mean? Give me 2 years. I'll be able to work at McDonald's. Let's make it happen. Are you from, where are you from, Georgia?
I am from Florida. So I'm from a small town in Florida, population 10,000, 16% Black. So I didn't have a very, I would say, Black experience. I grew up in a predominantly white area.
Yeah. How was, as far as growing up, you obviously knew your sexuality. You kind of had a inkling about that very early. How was that accepted in your community, being small and then not being very Black?
Oh my gosh, the trauma, honey. Where do we start? but I was definitely raised in a church. I was raised Pentecostal, Church of God. So my parents kept me, in church at the altar. And I was also like a little preacher. I love church. I love the theatrics of church. And I also love the spiritual connection. But as I mentioned, in middle school is when I started to, really feel those feelings heavy. Puberty is happening and you're really starting to like, settle into yourself. And so for me, I feared that coming out so much that I leaned more into the church. I was like, I will be able to fast it away, pray it away, shout it away, and I started that as early as 12. So really diving into ministry. So when you say, how was it accepted? It was not, it was not accepted. But I think that's also scary because, some things happened to me. And there were some times where I was taken advantage of because nobody was having those conversations about older women, taking advantage of you because of, you being in the closet as a young queer person. So there were some things that I felt could have been avoidable, that if the situations were reversed, if it
What up? It's your host, Ashley, and I'm interrupting this podcast to ask, are you following us? Have you downloaded the podcast? Are you subscribed to us on YouTube? If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all platforms, Queerly Black. I'm going to let y'all get back to the show. Peace.
It was a male, older male, wanting to spend extra time or wanting to come over, or, those situations would have been handled differently.
Right. Yeah. 100%. 100%. And I think even if that denial of the even just the conversation, regardless of how you feel, definitely invites things, because then people turn a blind eye to situations that really, if you were objectively looking at that without bias, you would be like, that seems just a little bit strange. Yeah, no, absolutely. 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 So then you going into ministry, obviously just, trying to, make your family happy. You want to just fit in and kind of go with the flow and make, appease the people that, keep a roof over your head, quite frankly. How was that transitioning out of that for you, from then till now, going through high school and just kind of understanding yourself more?
I would say, even though I was in church more than the average child, I'm talking 3 times a week. I was there for Bible study. I was there for revivals in high school, like a teenager who just loved church like that. That didn't make the feelings go away.
Yeah.
That didn't make the thoughts go away. And it really wasn't until college that I started to accept who I was, who I am. It was around 2008. I was going through a very, very bad depression in college. And oh my God, I was just the heaviness. When I think about how I dressed and just how I felt, I was just crying all the time. And a part of that was the denial of my truth. I wasn't living fully, to be who I know I am. And so it wasn't until 2010 that I decided to actually come out, and I first came out to God. And that was the first time, the closest that I've ever felt to God. Like I felt like that truth, that acceptance of myself brought me closer to the God around me and the God within me, because I was in so much denial about that. And I felt that God was saying to me, I love all of you. Like, you don't have to, pretend for me. The church may have certain expectations, but that's religion. Over here is relationship. And so that's where it started. It started for me coming out to myself, and then, coming out to God, and eventually, my family, and so on.
Yeah. Talk about a little bit about how that denial plays on you, right? Because I think that people who experience that understand what that is, but people who don't experience it don't understand how hard it is to live with that. Like, talk about that for you, like living in that denial and recognizing that it's denial, and not just like, I don't understand these feelings. Like, I know what I'm doing here and I know how it makes me feel. Talk about that.
Oh my gosh, girl. I'm already like feeling emotional, because it's, we're talking about childhood. We're talking about, adolescence to high school to college. And here I am now, 35, just now dealing with some of that denial. And so it makes me a little sad for that girl who I was then, because she didn't have permission. She didn't have the confidence or the knowledge, to walk in that truth. And so it was a huge part of my depression, which I have been dealing with my whole life. But knowing that at the root of that, at the core of that, was really, who am I? And why do I feel so guilty for liking girls? You know what I'm saying? Or that alone, that demonizing, children for something that literally is natural. I didn't go get it. I wasn't looking for it.
Yeah.
It was literally something that was already in me that I suppressed to make other people feel comfortable. Yeah. That still weighs on me today because I'm still healing from it. And my girlfriend now, she jokes with me and she says, "You're so homophobic." Because she'll say something or do something and I'll be like, gay. Like I'll be like, that is so gay. Why are you being so gay? Like for a long time I struggled with even PDA. I live in Atlanta. This is the gayest city in the South, and so to even feel that, is it okay for us to hold hands? I'm a grown ass woman. I'm 35 years old. Why am I worried about who's watching me hold my girlfriend's hand or an embrace? Because if the genders were reversed, if it was a heterosexual relationship, it would not only be embraced but romanticized.
Yeah. Like, oh,
that's normal. You're abnormal.
Yeah.
Like that never goes away.
No, it doesn't. And because it's like, it's a part of your rearing. It's like how you learn how to make rice or how you learn how to tie your shoes. It's like, when we have conversations all the time, like really around race. And so like, I remember one time, one of my coworkers, there was only two of us that were Black at my job. And she was like, she was having a conversation at another table about coleslaw. And so she comes over to me and she's like, did y'all have coleslaw? Like when you was growing up? She asking me. I was like, nah, like we ain't got no coleslaw, right? Like, nah. And she's like, yeah. And so then we had this whole conversation about how she had coleslaw as an adult and was like, no, like it's actually really good. But like we grow up with these things and I'm looking at her like, hell no, we ain't had no, like, we don't do that. Yeah, like what? On lettuce? That's crazy. Right? So like even when you get a burger, like, nah, take that mayonnaise off, that tartar on, none of that on my, you know what I'm saying? But these things that we grow up with, and a part of that is how we feel about certain things, how we feel about sexuality, how you feel about I remember early on hearing things like, when you see Prince or Michael Jackson wearing tight pants, oh, that's them faggots. You hear these things, these like microaggressions against, a group of people, and it's like, well, damn. Like if I tell you I'm gay, then what you about to say to me? And even as adults, you still have those thoughts, you still have that mentality. Even after coming out and being fully accepting of yourself, it still never goes away. And so just the acknowledgement of it and being like, yeah, like every day, that's still a struggle. It's very, very real, so I definitely understand that. Speaking of work, there's obviously coming out to the world and coming out in your personal life and being able to have your relationship and function outside of work. But then there's work and there's what sexuality looks like at work. For me, by day, I'm a finance professional. And I remember even when I started my career, I used to wear a weave. I used to wear skirts. I used to wear like full business attire. Like I was that person because I went to a Black college. They were like, you got to look like this. You got to be like this. You got to be the best. You got to blah, 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 blah. So the concept of even wearing jeans on Friday was crazy to me. Like, so that's where I originated from. So then, okay, now I got to get off this business casual. I got to get off this business attire, full suit thing in finance and wear jeans. Okay, that's one thing. Okay, now people are like, oh, so I see you flying to California all the time. Like, who are you going to see? I'm going to see my girlfriend, but like, that's not something I'm talking about at work, right? Like, I'm not opening up that conversation to my workplace. So, overcoming that process of like, okay, now people want to know about my sexuality at work. And then I cut my hair. and now I wear polos, and now I wear chino pants with loafers, and that
Okay.
whole
Come on,
right,
fashion.
the full, but just the over 10 years, the transition from like a weave in a suit to now my hair is shaved on the sides, chino pants, polo shirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was a whole journey. Talk about your journey of, evolving in your career, especially being that your image is a part of it. And not that your image is necessarily tied to your sexuality, but in some cases, the two intermingle and people ask questions. What's that journey
Image is
been for you?
everything.
Yeah.
Image is everything. People are shallow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I work in television. It's all about how you look. It's all about how you look and how you sound.
What up? It's your host, Ashley, and I'm interrupting this podcast to ask, are you following us? Have you downloaded the podcast? Are you subscribed to us on YouTube? If you're not already, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on all platforms, Queerly Black. I'm going to let y'all get back to the show. Peace.
There's sometimes when right now, I go stare at my closet and there's still some leftovers of who I used to be. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I used to be this girl who wore dresses every day. And I used to be this girl who, always had a weave, or, like you, I always had my hair done, had a different hairstyle every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I was very proud of that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Leaning into my creativity. Even that was weird for white people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
they think a new person walking through the door every 2 weeks. They like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, look at you.
Is this?
Look at you, Wanda Sykes.
Right.
Look at you, Macy Gray. And I was like, don't y'all know other Black people with
Right.
natural hair?
All right,
no,
Michelle Obama.
They did not, but for me, I had a lot of fear around that. I also went to a Black college, proud graduate of Florida A&M University. I studied broadcast journalism.
HU.
And come on now. It's the HBCU love in here.
100%
A. I ain't even gonna come for you. But I too felt like I had to be married to this Eurocentric view, because they teach you in journalism school, how to look,
mm-hmm.
how to sound, how to, assimilate, and so that also causes a lot of damage. I remember coming out to a mentor who was trying to hook me up with her nephew, because she, was really invested in my career and who I was as a person, but she did not know that thing about me. She did. That's my secret that
mm-hmm.
Only like my friends know. But I had to tell her, Professor, I'm gay.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a part of the liberation. That was, while I was in college. There's a lot to be said, at any college, but definitely the HBCU, about diversity of thought.
Yeah.
And diversity of experience. Because while I grew up in a small white town in Florida, going to FAMU was culture shock for me. There are a lot of Black people here.
Yeah.
I am overwhelmed. But there were a lot of Black people there living their truth. Okay, whatever that looked like. And so that was really the first time I saw openly gay Black people who were proud of being gay and Black. That's something I'm just stepping into that outfit. I'm just, feeling, okay, how I need to get this tailored a little bit,
mm-hmm.
but this outfit is for me too.
Yeah.
That pride is for me too. And so I know that there are certain environments that I walk into now where people look at me differently. Whereas I would have walked in 10 years ago, in a suit or a dress, and there would have been a different level of respect that I commanded.
Yeah.
I still command that respect, but now I'm more aware of the judgment and the bias that goes on. Even working remotely, there was a job that I had where, I cut my hair, and I noticed how one of the administrators started to treat me differently the more I leaned into my sexuality. I don't really like labels, but I know that I'm not as feminine presenting as I used to be. You know what I'm saying? I'm still, a soft, femme girl, but there's a masculinity that comes with that too. And it's all beautiful.
Yeah.
It's all a part of me, but I am very aware that is not accepted. Or widely accepted. There are some spaces where it is, but it's not widely accepted in my industry.
Yeah. No, for sure. And how's that? How do you feel about just, whether it's your own personal experience or just the general landscape of being in, TV for queer people in general? You know, what are your thoughts on opportunities and just the space that it lives in today?
I think that sometimes you got to be the change you want to see. And I can't even name right now a Black, queer, masculine-ish woman, you know, anybody, a gay Black female journalist who's on TV right now. I can't name one. I can tell you some guys, but I can't tell you about the women, because I think even when it comes to that, there's still a Eurocentric expectation, or, you know, even if you are natural on TV, you still got to be able to press your hair. And so for me, I've leaned more into entertainment. You know, in journalism, you either are that hardcore investigative journalist, or you're an entertainment journalist or sports journalist. There are not, you know, a lot of options. But for me, leaning into entertainment meant being able to discover my voice in comedy. That's not only helped me be more confident in my sexuality, but in my womanhood, you know, in my profession, I'm still a great writer. Being a great writer is what made me a great journalist, you know, and so it makes me a great producer. It's not what makes me a great comedian. And so I'm creating a lane, you know, a path for myself, because I don't see that. I don't see that clearly right now. I don't see somewhere where I'm like, oh, I want to be like her. Maybe Rosie O'Donnell, but she white, you know?
Yeah.
Love Rosie.
Yeah. Yeah. And how dope is she on the L Word now?
Oh my gosh, L Word Generation Q.
I love that.
That's art right there.
That's
that
art.
Might not be journalism, you know, but that is definitely entertainment, and it's definitely a place for representation. And I want to commend the writers of that show for how much the L Word has evolved. I remember binging, you know, 6 seasons of the L Word, just looking for somebody who looked like me. Looking for a story that looked like mine, like, and what does gay look like, and what does you know trans look like, what does the community look like? I don't have a lot of gay friends, so I didn't really know. I didn't know what that looked like. But going from, you know, what, 15 years ago when they first did L Word to now, being able to see how not only have the characters evolved, but the community has evolved. Yeah, there's so many, you know, people. So many more people at play now, so many roles being included. And I love that. My girlfriend said it best the other day. We were watching L Word, of course. And she said, we wouldn't be able to appreciate these characters and the show the way that we do if the writers and creators weren't also living in their truth. 100%. 100%. And that's the kind of creator I want to be. Absolutely. 100%. I love the L Word. I think I've always loved the L Word from way back, you know, when it first, you know, came out. I've always loved it. And I think obviously it's not necessarily a Black show, but I think that as a queer person, you definitely identify with those characters, and you find little pieces of yourself in all of them. Like you find, like, you know, me and my wife are definitely Tina and Bet. We're like, you know, the just career professionals, just got, who's, you know, Bet and who's Tina. That's the great debate. I'm Bet. Yeah, that's the great debate. I'm Bet. I identify as a Alice Piazecki. Okay, I feel Alice. Like if I really could, like, truly live my dream, I would be a Black Alice Piazecki. Like I love the gay talk show, the platform for the community, and that Alice has always been Alice. Okay, she has not changed. Alice is my favorite character on the show. Her fashion is on 10. Leveled up. I want every suit. I want everything they put her in. Like on 10. I never thought I'd be an Alice. I'm an Alice. Yeah, Alice is my favorite. She's always been my favorite character. When Tasha came along, Tasha became my favorite character, but you know, Tasha. Alice is the one. Yeah. I thought, well, I won't say too much about the show, but when she had her little revelation. I think they're gonna bring her back. I think they're gonna bring her back. They brought old girl back from the dead. So I know. I know they can bring Tasha. Come back. On, man. Y'all got to bring Tasha. I think the fans is like, y'all, hey, please. Come on. Y'all could put Tina back. But let's start swapping out these old ones now. Let's you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm with it. I love Tasha. So I hope Tasha is who they hitting at is coming back. I really do. Nice, man. Well, yeah, so definitely I think that
one of the things I wanted to talk about as far as like career and, you know, this whole representation thing is comedy. So you're in comedy. One, talk about what sparked that for you coming from a journalism background, and how it's been going so far.
Oh my God. I love comedy. Comedy has been everything to me these last 2.5 years. I've been doing stand-up officially, but I was always trying to be funny. I was always trying to crack a joke at a journalism conference or in the newsroom. And let's just say it was inappropriate. You know, there needed to be another platform, another outlet for the creativity. At one point, I was writing a blog on the side, my first job when I was working in Fort Myers at a local TV station. And that was my outlet. I wrote a blog, you know, I wrote a blog about weight loss, you know, and I was just kind of making fun of myself and kind of how I always had this dream of being a stripper, but now I've, you know, gained this weight and, you know, my body looks a little different. So I'm teaching. You know, I became a teacher. I went to get the strip club application. You didn't know they had applications. They do. They do.
I thought it was just auditions.
No, you gotta be 1099. They gotta put you on.
Yeah, they gotta put you on. Yeah.
So there is an application process, but I ended up teaching. So comedy has always been for me. I would say even going back to church, the first play I ever wrote for church was hilarious. It was great. Rave reviews. The critics loved me. And by critics, I mean the congregation. They loved it. They encouraged it. And I think what really gave me permission to lean more into comedy was writing my book. Everybody knows the power of being in position. I published that book in 2018. I wrote the book in 8 days, published and released in 90, and was just like, here y'all go. And so the book is a little trauma mixed with comedy. People tell me they go from laughing to crying, back laughing, back crying. It's an emotional roller coaster. And that pretty much sums up my personality. So I was like, I want to do more of that. What would it look like? So in 2020, you know, height of the pandemic, I walked into an open mic at a lesbian bar in Atlanta and just gave it a try. I just gave it a try. And since then, I have been able to perform at other clubs in Atlanta Comedy Theater, Uptown Comedy, Laughing Skull. I've even traveled with stand-up as well. Just like whenever I'm on a conference or something, I always look for a mic nearby because it's so fun to me to see how other demographics, other communities respond to my comedy. So I performed in Las Vegas, I performed in Chicago, did a show in Philly. And the best part is I get to do comedy with my girlfriend. She's also a comedian. And so it's fun. I'm having the time of my life.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. And like, what did that jump, like in terms of like making that decision, right? Because this is, you know, something that's different. And, you know, I can see the parallel, but some people would say like, oh, you know, that's a little bit different. What gave you the confidence to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna try this out?
I'm funny. I'm funny. Like,
believing in yourself.
That's just what it is. Even when I didn't believe in myself, like I'm funny. I know, even when I'm not trying to be, it's funny. So it's just who I am. It just naturally comes to me. And now I actually work on my writing so that I can be, you know, a master of the craft and just do it even more. But I tell people that it's not a pivot. It's an evolution. This is all a part of Georgia. Ain't nobody judging Queen Latifah for doing, you know, comedy movies and then The Equalizer. And then she sing jazz and she rap a little bit, you know, and she a cover girl. Nobody's judging the Queen. No one's judging the Queen collection. She's all of those things unapologetically and nobody questions her about it. And so for me, I am, like you said, finding the confidence to walk in all these shoes. You know, I like shoes. They're more comfortable now because I'm not pretending that I like heels. You know what I'm saying?
Amen.
My knees are better. My knees are better. The balls of my feet feel amazing. You know what I'm saying? The pedicure hit different.
It definitely hits different. Lasts a little longer. Lasts a little longer. Talk about the Purpose Producer.
Oh man, the Purpose Producer, that's my baby. The Purpose Producer for me is who I want to be. You know, I want to be this person who's always in position for others. That's not realistic. I'm not always where I'm supposed to be, you know, but I curate conversations around people who are, you know, or who strive to be. The Purpose Producer is something that started after I wrote the book. I had this spiritual call, this spiritual awakening in 2018, right before I wrote the book, where God told me that I was more than a television producer. Because my thing was, God, who am I now? Like, if I'm not, at the time I'd left a talk show that I helped create and produce, and that was at the call of God. God was calling me to something else. And I was like, if I'm not a television producer, then who am I? People don't even know how to introduce me to their friends because I'm their producer friend. And that's when God said to me, you're more than a television producer, you're a purpose producer. Whatever you put your hands on, you're extracting purpose from that thing. And so that's where it started. I just started calling myself the purpose producer. I'm going to walk in this anointing, you know what I'm saying? And then I started with apparel from there. I started with t-shirts, and people started buying the shirts, and I was like, oh, they really, you know, they support me.
Yeah.
And so from there, it evolved into the podcast. And so I'm 3 seasons into the Purpose Producer podcast. And honestly, I can say the best is yet to come. There's so much more I want to do with the Purpose Producer. And she inspires me in every way.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. What other kind of things can people get from Georgia Dawkins?
First of all, get the book, okay? GeorgiaDawkins.com. Don't even play. Go get the book, all right? I'm an author.
Tell them the title
also,
again.
Everybody knows the power of being in position. Everybody knows. And so that's available on my website. I'll even sign a copy for you. You can expect more television, you know, more production projects. You know, I'm doing comedy. I'll also help run a remote production company. And when I'm not doing that, I'm freelance producing. So in 2020, I did a true crime show for TV One. A few months ago, I did a midterm election special for the Griot. So you never know where you're going to find me. You never know. And you never know what to expect because I have so many resources in my toolbox, from journalism to comedy, you know, to just connecting with people overall. The thing that you can expect from me is to continue connecting with people and curating conversations around purpose.
Yeah, dope, man. Well, look, we're going to play real quick. We're going to play a little game of this or that.
Oh.
So real quick, we're just going to go through a few little scenarios. And you just tell me which one you would pick. And then we're going to get out of here. Okay. So laundry or cooking?
Cooking every time.
All no right. Laundry.
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm. What's your favorite meal to cook?
My favorite meal to cook is breakfast, because I'm always getting creative with it. Okay. And don't let me watch a TikTok because I'm gonna hit it with a remix. Okay. But breakfast is my favorite. I make a bean French toast. Okay. Play with me.
Boom. There you go. Day at the spa or watching sports all day?
Day at the spa. Girl, don't play with me. Sports. I am not that gay. Okay. And other lesbians be like, you don't watch basketball? You don't watch the WNBA? And I'd be like, no. I'll be at the spa, you know, I will be getting a deep tissue massage from a tiny woman.
From a tiny woman. Short hair or long hair?
Short hair. Oh my God. The best decision I've ever made was cutting my hair. Oh my God. So much freedom and just being able to get up and go. I've gotten so much time back just from cutting my hair. There's so much freedom here.
Yeah. Lipstick or lip gloss?
Lipstick. This is the lip bar. Okay. We call this Rich Auntie. All right.
Rich Auntie.
She's an influencer, honey. She's an influencer.
Hey, pay the bill or have her pay?
You know what? I'm really torn on that because I don't really want to be the man in the relationship, but my girlfriend does a great job of doing our monthly expenses. And that just takes weight off my shoulders. All I have to do is, you know, pay my half. So I'll say 50-50.
Sports bra or underwire bra?
You know, they be sitting, you know, so I don't really know. The sports bra is so comfortable, but if I'm like leaving the house or I'm doing a little interview with you, I put on my good bra. This is from Soma, okay? They sitting.
Yeah.
They sitting. I'm gonna go for the wire.
They make some hybrids now though with the you know what I'm saying, the strong lift without the You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But the wire is no replacing the wire. Pillow princess or I'm on top. You can plead the fifth.
I've never been a princess.
Yeah.
My second girlfriend was a pillow princess, and I didn't know what that was. I thought she was trying to be funny. I was like, so you're not gonna do any work? I was like, I don't like it. Needless to say, we didn't last.
Boom, there you go. All right. Well, there you go. You guys just learned a little bit more about Georgia Dawkins in about 5 seconds, 5 minutes. Good, man. Well, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me at Georgia Dawkins on Instagram or georgiadawkins.com. You can also find me at The Purpose Producer on social media. And definitely subscribe to my podcast, The Purpose Producer. Yes,
man. Well, listen, Georgia, I'm so excited that you came. I had a great time talking to you. Y'all go check Georgia out, The Purpose Producer. She's a comedian. She's a writer. She's a producer. She's an author. Go to her Instagram, all of her links, everything that you need. I'm going to link everything about her below so y'all can go check her out. It's a great woman. 2023 is the best is yet to come. Georgia, thank you again. To y'all already know, I'm Ashley, y'all host. This is another episode of the Blax Show. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.